This video is best viewed on a stereoscopic 3D monitor or with YouTube's cardboard viewing option. For more 3D options, use the Flash Player by clicking the first link in the description. For the unwarped VR version of this video suited for viewing on a 2D screen or in a VR headset, click the second link in the description. Whoa, this guy's pretty good. Welcome to Stereo 3D Productions! It's time to put on the HTC VIVE and take a look at a game I promised we would take a look at. This is Vector 36, and it was featured in my first impressions of the HTC VIVE headset for a short amount of time while I was evaluating what I thought of this headset at first. But of course I did promise, oh, this guy's in trouble now. I did promise that I would actually revisit this title in the context of first impressions that would be just about Vector 36 and not about anything else. So here we are, and it's nice to be putting on the HTC VIVE once more after using the Oculus Rift for a whole week. That's right, last week two pretty prominent racing simulations got their update for the Oculus Rift, and I sort of had to switch setups and take a look at those, and it turns out it was pretty timely because I also plan to use the Oculus Rift for work last week, so it's a really well-timed sequence of events. And now we're back to the HTC VIVE, and we're about to try out this game and give it a fair shot in the context of a first impressions. So let's go take a look at that. So you probably saw that little black and white empty SteamVR room there. This game does that when it loads something. You'll actually revert back to that sort of hollow SteamVR room, and then it's going to show you the next scene. So let's go ahead and play this game, jump right in it. And of course, right off the bat, as you saw in my HTC VIVE first impressions, I am taken to a sort of training area, and I'm given only one choice, which is called the orientation. I'm given a skimmer. These ships in this game are called skimmers. And I'm gonna go take a look at what they want me to do with this. So orientation will get me 2,000 credits, and there's that load screen again. So welcome to the crater, take your position on the grid, get ready to race. I'm trying to see if I have any of the SteamVR delimiters around me right now, and I appear not to, which is what I want. When it's a seated VR experience, I prefer not to have any chaperone downs of any kind. So what I can do here is I can actually do this with A and D. So I hit F to start the engine while I was talking there, and then I can hit the front and back keys to control my pitch, and the left and right keys to control my yaw. The next thing I can do is actually I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar, and that will make me go forward. And this is where you realize that when you go forward, this thing wants to dip a little bit, and you'll actually want to pitch up as you do so. So right now it wants me to land. I'll show you a few things about these controls that makes the first impressions to this game rather brutal, to be honest. This could turn off a lot of gamers, so check it out. Now that's how you earn your first 2,000 credits. It is easy as fuck, and now it tells you you can stick around here and do whatever you want, or you can just go back to the garage and start playing the game for real and get out of that tutorial. What I will do is I will restart the engine immediately, and we're gonna go over the basics. So I've done the yaw. And this is where it gets really weird with this. The forward and backwards keys will not control whether you go forwards or backwards. They will control your pitch only. Your forward is controlled with your thrust, which I just started hitting now. And what you want to do is sort of balance your pitch, which is your nose up, nose down attitude, along with your thrust, to make sure to not crash into things. And the part where it gets really difficult is when you go over ravines. You may actually need to hit yet another key, which is the jump key. And I was really surprised to find out the tutorial doesn't even go over what the jump key is, so I'll show you right now. I set mine to be left alt. So if control is brake, control is to stop, alt will be to suddenly gain altitude when you're in trouble. So if I make the thing go down here a little bit, I could hit Alt and suddenly get my altitude back. This is a control that is not in the tutorial and is kind of crucial, so I'm really surprised not to have seen it there, because it turns out that there's ravines on the tracks. We're probably gonna see one as we go along here. And by the way, if you want to boost, my boost key by default was at left shift, so we can actually take a look at that. You can see my speed increasing there. Those are kilometers per hour, 370, 380. So going pretty fast here, and you also got to watch out for your temperature, which is now at 550 degrees Celsius and rising. There goes the heat. I got to let go of the boost if I don't want to overheat. I'll make sure I don't slam into anybody here, get too close to anybody. And there we go, I'm at minus 30 here, so what I can do is just hit the gas again, hit the boost. What I have to do when I hit the boost is also pitch up a little bit so that I don't sink right into the ground. Because the thing will want to pull up and down as you throttle up and down. A good way to counter that is to adjust the bias of the ship. You may see a number on the left there, the bias. I'm changing it about there. The higher you have it, the more your ship will tend to remain nose down. And the lower you have it, the more nose up you're going to get by default. Now the problem is the more nose up you put, the less speed you will get when you boost. It'll be easier to fly without touching the ground, but you'll have much less speed. Look at this, I got my finger on the boost right now. I can't even get the 370 like I did before, and I'm already overheating. So I'm going to raise that bias a little bit, all the way up to 45, 46, pitch up a little bit, but now responsibility is on you to pitch up when you're approaching the ground at that point, because your bias is not automatically set. But look at that speed go up. Look at the difference. So the bias will give you a great deal of control, especially when you're new to this game. And one thing I'm going to tell you is, this game has a brutal welcome curve. Like I was saying earlier, the controls can be really messed up right off the bat. Right at the tutorial, you can go like, holy shit, this is really fucking hard to master. Everybody's zipping by me like if I was like a grandma stopped on the side of the highway. What the fuck is going on? Well, it's a difficult control scheme overall. There's almost nothing you can do about it, really, other than keep fiddling with it. Because I'll tell you honestly, the cool part about this game is that the ship, the way the ship is designed, the way the mechanics work with this ship, are incredibly cool. The skimmer concept I really like. And once you get the slightest hang of the controls, they will grow on you. They will actually start growing on you. Even though you're still actually doing pretty terrible at the game, you'll sort of start taking a liking into the feeling, especially in VR with the 3D and the whole cockpit around you, which is, by the way, beautifully modeled. It will give you a sensation that you are in a real, authentic vehicle that is naturally very difficult to control. A little bit iffy on the tutorial, not showing you the jump mechanic very clearly. I'll show you how so very important that is. And also, a little like, I don't know, during this tutorial, when I keep flying here, some tips should be coming up. They should really try to cater to the game. I'm not saying a fucking annoying tutorial that keeps like doing this, pausing the game, stopping your action, but something where a little tooltip could come up discreetly over the dashboard, just to say, hey buddy, if you want to try doing this, or I'll give you an example. What's this? Why does, when I do this, why does my screen go blurry and dark? Well, they could explain that that is the G effect, which I didn't know until I tried. Of course, I recognized it right away because I've used flight simulations before that have a sort of a effect like that in them, so I know what a G effect is. But some people may not, and may just wonder, did I break my ship when they're doing a quick spin around? So there's a few things in the tutorial that should be explained, especially when you're dealing with something that is quite touchy like this. You're about to see the difficulties suddenly increase. This is probably something the game isn't doing itself that much of a favor with. Well, I'm sort of on a fence about saying that. Here's the thing. It's good that the game gives you such an excellent ship to do your training with, because you get to try all the controls in their full capacity. The problem is now we're about to be taken to our first ship, which is a fucking piece of horse shit. you're about to see the difference. And this is where a player can be beyond turned off when they go there, because now it's gonna be like, holy shit, I feel so powerless. But let's go take a look at this. Now, the garage is rather simple. You have your skimmer list here, so you pick your skimmer, and then you click on this button, which, if I'm not mistaken, takes you to the garage. Think of the garage as a tech tree, but it's an asynchronous tech tree. It's not kind of like World of Tanks where most of the parts are treed together. This is a sort of, each lane has its own tree type of thing. So you can actually go ahead and name your skimmer. So this one is called the Entropod 2. I'll leave it like that for now. And you have your component filters. So what you do is you basically select cockpit components, and the shit's going to show up on the left, and you can navigate through it. If I'm not mistaken, you can actually do multiple revisions of the same skimmer, which means you can have multiple configurations for one. I have not played a lot with this at this point, where you can actually go put the parts and everything, mostly because I'm not good enough to progress in the racing in the game so far. Remember, now I said I missed an entire edition of this video, and I'm redoing it because I finally found out that the jump mechanic, which really is a crime not to very much highlight in the tutorial. We'll very much see this in a little bit. So you can actually go ahead and fine adjust the parts. I've not played with any of this. This gets pretty technical. Oh, actually I don't know because I haven't played with it, but it seems like there's a lot to offer. This is not just a crude tech tree. It looks like there's a little bit of mechanic workings to it, where you can actually place the parts in different positions. So you can actually go ahead and do some advanced modifications. I believe there's subcomponents. So you have your cockpit, thrust, lift, radiators, gyro, fuel, power, and ECU components. And this, and I believe this, will be our problems right now with the first skimmer. The first skimmer is unbelievably weak, and the problem is it constantly wants to sink towards the ground. So when you, if you recall the training area, I went over a lot of ravines. With this piece of shit, when I will go over a ravine, the thing's gonna want to dive into the ravine. And I had all fucking hell during my first take of this first impressions, getting through that in one piece. So right now I just saved this guy. I hope I didn't mess up anything. But what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna take this guy out to a race. And I think the first one you have to pick is the Rust series. So let's go in that. I shall pick the Rust series, and Lana's run as the first race. And we're gonna go ahead and hit race. So now what they do is they tell you to basically start up your brand new piece of shit that's going to make you feel powerless compared to the other one. So I go ahead and press my F key. This thing's gonna start up. You see that I don't have the same design outside this ship. It's really a shitty version of that first skimmer. So right now what I'm gonna want to do is lower that bias a little bit, at least to 50, if not all the way down to 48. And get my speed up. So I'm going 222 kilometers with my boost all the way down. I'm probably going to manage to reach 300 before this temperature soars. Or not. Because it also wants to sink so much that sometimes you got to do something else than boost in a straight line and take emergency action not to hit the fucking ground. So far, this is probably my best performance so far. I've never actually managed to stick with the starting pack. And the other thing I noticed with the skimmer is the engine is so weak that I actually rarely ever get overheating issues with it, because I can't look. It's not even going into the heat problems, and I have my boost all the way down. The boost gives up before you run into heating issues. I don't know if that's what they want, you know, for the beginner. Now here comes a couple of difficult ravines, and this is where I'll do my first uses of the jump key as best as I can, and I will actually try to slow my ass down. It's past the red gates. That one ravine is unbelievably deep. I can deal with the shallow ones. They're very, very easy to deal with. This is the hardest one to deal with right here. So now I'm holding my jump. I'm holding my jump. Oh, shit. No. No. I'm holding my jump, and here's what's really fucked up. If you are caught in this, you are really, really messed up. So this game has a couple of issues right now with this. That right now I want to restart the race and I cannot. I have to hit next race at this point, which I will, because there's no point in trying to continue that race. I am beyond fucked at that point. If I brush the cliff, I will destroy the skimmer. There's another ravine here. Now, I did not manage to complete a single race last time, so let's see if I can this time knowing the jump key. I actually really made an honest effort there with the jump key. I think the big mistake I may have made is I did not pitch up as well. So I should have jumped and pitched up. So we're gonna continue fiddling with the controls. This is where I didn't want to smash this game right away, although I was having a lot of issues with the control, mostly because, like I said earlier, there's a cool feeling to piloting these little ships to begin with, and secondly, there's a lot of trial and error. So here comes one. There we go. So I absolutely don't know how to finish these tracks. I've seen some really upsetting reviews and on Steam. VR noobs obviously calling on motion sickness, but that's, listen to me, you VR noobs, it's because you're fucking VR noobs. That's your problem. Do not downvote a game because you get motion sickness. That is not a rating factor. That's absolutely not a rating factor for a game. If you have problems with the game itself, as in like right now, I'm having problems going in a straight line with this vessel, that's a problem with the game itself. But if you take fucking Vector 36 and you get motion sickness because you're a freaking VR noob, look at the motion! It's like you're in a fucking spaceship twirling around. Don't downvote this game because of motion sickness. What the fuck are you doing? The developers worked pretty hard on this shit. At least criticize what needs to be criticized. They're not gonna fucking suddenly work a whole new fucking VR scheme just because you got motion sick out of a game that gives you pretty intense motion. I mean, look at a goddamn video before you play the game, you know what I mean? But, there are actually legitimate issues to be pissed off about. I wouldn't downvote this game actually over the issues I'm having with it at this point, over those ravine issues. I wouldn't downvote it over that because there's so much work put into this that there's good value to this game. And if the developer keeps listening like they did last time I had an issue with the game where the freaking left click wasn't working anymore, and the guy's like, sorry, and updates it in 2 freaking seconds. I'm sorry, this is where I see downvotes because of motion sickness, and I'm like, did this VR noob even consult anything before playing this game? Or, I don't know. Like, here's what you can do in this game, okay? You can actually do this. This will, like, the controls will allow you to do this. A lot of VR games are, like, stationary and you do nothing and you freaking teleport around. Look, a lot of those games can be fun, don't get me wrong. But at some point, I want motion. And I'm used to it, and I don't get sick from it. So don't go and smash games that take the dare to actually give realistic motion, because you got motion sick. Oh, I got motion sick. Motion sickness is entirely on you, buddy, not on the game. Just gotta tell you. So that's gonna be my new thing now, going around Steam reviews calling people VR noobs, because that just infuriates me. The amount of work put on something like this, and your negative feedback has nothing to do with the game at all. When actually you could help out by saying, hey, your ravines are kind of fucking difficult. Which a lot of people will agree with. It turns out, shit, I forgot your name, dude. There's a comment on my HTC VIVE First Impressions video of someone who loves this game and has the exact same fucking problems I do, but he still loves the game. And here's the thing, I'm kinda in the same seat. I was having so many problems during the other First Impressions video that I recorded yesterday and subsequently deleted from existence because it was terrible. I wasn't necessarily raging or anything, it's just that gameplay was fucking horseshit. It made the game look really fucking bad. And I'm doing a little better today, but as you saw, I still can't finish a fucking track. I mean, it's still a brutal ass game, and personally I'm starting to think now that I've had a good 2 hours straight of training, if you want, with a shitty ship, not with the good ship, with the really shitty ship. There's something really wrong with those ravines, guy. There's no problems with motion sickness in your game. Your game delivers what it's trying to deliver. However, there is a problem with those ravines. I just went over one right now and the jump key worked nicely, but that's probably the most this piece of shit could have handled. Because now I just realized another little key factor is that there's a limit to that jump button. I didn't fucking know that. So right now what I'm probably not doing correctly is I'm so underusing the boost. Come on, stop stopping. Stop stopping. I think this guy's boost is fucked because he's also coasting. We're in a coast side by side here. Another problem that I had a lot during the first edition of my first impressions, and this was during moments where I'm not even pushing the envelope very much with the ship. I'm not swerving around or wiggling or doing anything weird, and I suddenly get rammed by another driver. Here we go. Here's a ravine. Oh! Oh! Fuck, I can't believe I made that. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me cliff. Fuck. Come on. Turn me. Yeah, we got it. I'm surprised I got through that, and that's only the first lap at the end, and I'm like, okay. Oh my fucking god, I almost got chopped in half right there. I'm only gonna see them in the last second. God damn it, this guy fucking almost chopped me in half. So I'm pretty sure I'm not racing online. I'm pretty sure that these are AI. Maybe ghosts based on online races, but they don't seem to look where they're going very often. That, or maybe, in their case, they have skimmers that are so overpowered compared to you that they obviously plow into you because they don't have time to get out of the way. I'd be surprised though. That's really fucking weird. So I'm still in my first lap. I do believe we have another gate. Wow, place 5 of 8. That is the first time I see myself there. So another thing I like about the way this works, put aside the ravine issue, is the way you're gonna take a turn with this feels a lot like a helicopter. You're basically gonna place your turn's attitude, and then you can almost just you do a few corrections, place the thing in a turn, and then you just use the boost key like this. There we go. I'm just gonna do a few pitch corrections to go over this strip here, and there we go. Barely any control input right there to perform that turn. Now I gotta be careful though, because I'm gonna impact. When the impact is too obvious, I try not to fight out of it. I try to rather turn it into a sort of scrape on the ground rather than a downright boom. So you want to sort of slow down, pitch up, and if you can, hit the jump key, but you can also go sideways a little bit. Sort of, because there appears to be a fluid density in the atmosphere here. They're trying to do the Mars thing, which obviously makes it that the atmosphere is very thin, but there is a fluid of some kind. Like, it's not zero density around here. So when you yaw to the side in the airflow, it seems to want to lean opposite, kind of like a helicopter would do if you're to come in like really fast one way. So here comes one of those ravines. Oh yeah, well that one's really high though. That one's not really high, really short. I mean, I'm gonna try to gain some altitude here. It's up a little bit of altitude. Check that bias line. And what's really dangerous with these fucking ravines is when you're at high altitude, it's like your current altitude must be relative to the ground. So when the ground drops, your fucking thing dips like a brick, with like almost without warning. And that makes this game fucking hard to learn as shit. As you saw, I fucked up once, but I managed to stay on the track. I would actually recommend to the dev to make this track the first one, because I do recommend, remember, in my first take of this first impressions video, that this is the track I had the best results on, and right now it appears to be exactly the same deal I'm getting. I'm trying to use my jump keys here not to hit the ground. There we go. You gotta be really careful. It's called a skimmer, right? So you don't want to go over that shit over there. It's too long. There's too much deep, too long. You want to go over the shortest section of the cliff. So knowing the tracks does help, but the other thing you want to do is absolutely fully prepare way in advance for those cliffs. Get in your head, there's a cliff coming, I'm going to be fucking tanking, because as you saw, I did exactly that with the first of 3 tracks, and I fell right into it anyways. And once you are in that cliff, I think there was a way out there, but it's not always obvious. There are 2 or 3 cliffs like that, and on at least 2 occasions, I was pretty much shit out of luck and stuck there, which kind of sucks. I love the spotlight, by the way. It feels real. That spotlight feels like a fucking legitimate spotlight. So what I did there is I sort of let it drop like a brick, nose up, and then I hit my jump key in order to come back up right away. Let's check it out. I'll do it again just to show you the trick. This could be a good way to get over obstacles, but I'd probably have to do it under boost. So it's fun that this is actually very first impressions in a way. Here we go. This is actually very first impressions in a way that I'm still totally at the point where I'm at the basics of figuring out the controls, and I'm recording video showing you what I think of it at the same time. So doesn't get more first impressions than this, despite the fact that I have a few hours already on this game, and I'm still getting the hang of a lot of its basics. So like I said, gotta give this one a chance, because as you can see, I'm kind of having fun right now. I'm talking, I'm able to concentrate on my driving at the same time. It's not too difficult. This track is not too brutal. It has escape routes. That first track, the first canyon after gate 2, I tried a lot of lines through it, and I still cannot get through that track in one piece. So I'm hoping that at least this time it's looking like finishing a race may be an actual possibility. Let's not fuck this up. Right? Let's hop over this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to fucking get out of the ridge terrain. Right, there we go. So I'm starting to get the hang of how to properly use that goddamn jump mechanic. So earlier what I tried to do in the first track, maybe it was wrong, was to like fire the thing through the entire jump. And it looks like all you have to do is really give yourself some up momentum whenever you get close to the ground like that. Looks like the turn is going to be there. I can see pieces of UI through the mountain there. I think that's the starting UI. So it does look like, that's a Unity bug, by the way. I know my Unity bugs. The UI will often go through everything. So if you have like a UI that's inside your 3-dimensional space, be prepared to see it go through walls. I think that's what's going on to them. I can't look there anymore. I have to fly straight. But we'll see it later on. I know that there's a couple of places you can see the UI through the walls here. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. It's a Unity bug. I've dealt with it myself. It's quite annoying. There's a render order you can put, but it's not that obvious, okay? It's not as obvious as just, oh, it's just a render. No. It's not that simple. Oh, shit, I got past it. Here's the thing. Should I start racing now? I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna push too hard and fuck something up in the process and not get to finish this race. I would very much, for once, like to see myself cross a finish line. That would be a lot of fun. Then I want to see what happens after. I've actually not seen what happens after. I think in the early days of this game, when I first had tried it with my DK2, and I decided to postpone my first impressions because I knew I was going to get SteamVR support, and I wanted to do the video in 3D because of this fucking awesome cockpit and these awesome visuals. I was like, this absolutely needs to be done in 3D. The sensation of speed in this is so fucking awesome that I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing a 2D review of this one. I mean, I'm gonna post a 2D equivalent, but there's no way I'm doing only 2D of this. This had to be captured in stereoscopic 3D. So when I originally played this, I don't know if the ravines were this bad. The reason being is that I think I actually did finish a race. It's either the ravines were not that bad, or more likely, the races were just 1 lap long. That is very likely that the races were really not that long. What the fuck happened to me? Is there a shortcut on this track? And why am I suddenly 7th? Fucking hell! I'm actually driving better than the last lap. That is really fucking messed up. Or did they take a wrong way and I'm gonna pass them all now going to that gate? Am I the one who took the shortcut? I'm not too sure what the fuck happened there. I'm gonna complain to the track marshals. I'm gonna be complaining to the track marshals, sis. Call the bullshit. Hashtag call the bullshit. Yeah, there we go. It's time to get the hang of that bounce method, and that may be the way. Oh, you fucking piece of horse shit. You fucking piece of garbage. 5 of 8. The sensation of speed, like I said, is all there. You barely ever need to check that thing to know how fast you're going. Just look out the window, you'll see how fast you're going, don't worry. So again, like I noticed, the first ship is so damn weak that the boost is does not cause overheating most of the time. So holy shit, that AI did it again. That happened a good 5 or 6 times. And it happened during one of the races where it was going much better for me, which pissed me off a lot. The work will have to be done on that. I won't want to play at a higher level with this level of difficulty in the controls themselves and fucking blind AI. That was like blind horse shit right there. That, like, I'm right there, I'm minding my own business, and this piece of shit just fucking plows right into me. That is not a very good way to game. All I can hope is that his race is over, but I don't think so. I saw these fuckers constantly come back. I love, again, the spotlight. Going through this section feels really cool. And now what I'm trying to do is just get as much speed as possible so I don't get fucking slammed in by fucking serial killers. That fucking serial killer AI that just flies right into you. Because look at this. Look at what you can do. Whoa! Fuck, that was way too high. Holy shit, that was cool. Holy shit. I want to crash. Oh, fuck, I almost crashed there. That was fuck. What? Look at this complete bullshit. It's almost the end of the race here. Good thing my thing's still capable of reaching 200 on boost. Because that was fucking bullshit. I am fucking coming through super high. What the fuck? The AI is clearly unable to see what it is in front of it. It's just lapping. There is no intelligence on it whatsoever. It's just trying to do the lap. There is no way it's looking. And I don't have mirrors or a radar. That would be incredible to have. Do you realize that? Unless that thing on the left is what a radar would be. But I don't know. What I really hope is that the guy who rammed into me, and I think it was the second time, same guy, I hope he cannot come back in the race. Because now what I'll do is I'll sort of stick to the wall, hoping that these fucking idiots are flying through the middle. Because all I want to do at this point is keep myself in one piece. So that's all we want to do right now is keep the skimmer in one piece. She's doing good. She's holding a great position. I see shadows and they make me nervous. I want to try to take my turn wider now to avoid these fuckers blasting into me like fucking serial killers. I'm telling you, it's worse than the I-95. You can go and drive 35 miles an hour on the I-95 and you will get run over less. Now, I'm talking in Florida here, guys. In comparison with the I-95 in fucking Florida. You can go there and drive 35 miles an hour. Those of you who live there will know what I'm fucking talking about. It's fucking dangerous to go 35 miles an hour on the I-95 in fucking Florida in most places around most cities. As people go fucking fast on that highway now. You would have less chances of getting injured than being on one of these racetracks. Yeah, Vector 36, work on that and the ravines, and you got yourself a really fucking good game here, because now I've been doing the whole race, having a very, very good time of it. Not too much difficulty since I found the jump key, so what you really have to do right now It's a crime for your game not to do it already. Your jump mechanic is not explained at the tutorial, thus making most flying virtually impossible. Virtually impossible. The first track, I still hadn't gotten the hang of that mechanic, so I fucked it up naturally. And I think I completed a race. We have completed a race, people! Woo! Unless yeah, there you go. Let's try a lead league day sprint. So that's another thing that I didn't realize. There's a lot of instructions in that garage to the point where there's almost too many of them. But then in this menu, it's not explained, all these modes. I looked at it real quick, and you'll understand that a new gamer, a new player to your game, will probably take whatever you show them by default at this stage and hit race. They're not gonna fiddle with these buttons, so that's a bit my fault, but I recommend to the dev that either you put a tooltip here that says, hey, by the way, modes, or what I would do is basically start a quick races. So there we go. Putting myself at a bias of 50 right there. Give myself a little boost. Okay, it looks like this track is a little bit more graphically demanding. And also that I have immediately fallen in last place. But that's okay, I'm not very good at the starts yet. I tend to be a little slow at getting my damn engine started. Oh, Unity and water, that's true, right. That's why it's doing that. Okay, that's why the graphics struggle a little bit on this one. I could have lowered the quality a little bit, I chose not to, so it is by my choice. I do not know what this is, but I hope it won't fucking damage me too much. I am over very, very terrain. I better find something flat to fly over now. Alright, so I'm not losing track of anybody here. Which is pretty nice, and I think they're going where the track's supposed to be going. So guys, if I pass you, can you do me a favor and not slam right into me? Wouldn't that be an amazing day? Look, I'm gonna fly to your left now. On your... What the fuck was that? You blind piece of horse shit. I'm slamming him now. I'm gonna fucking block you. What the fuck was that shit flying? It's a straight line. The guy starts going left. Is it actually trying to block me? So does it actually know where I'm located? Because that doesn't make sense. Why do you keep flying into me? Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna overtake here. Got ourselves a nice boost. We're still cold. Still running cold. Still running cold. Relatively speaking. Okay, let go the boost. I'll be ready to hit my jump key any moment now. Or not, or not. Okay, so this has a lot of downhill. For fuck's sake, why isn't this the first track then? This should be the very first track you're ever introduced to in the game. It's much easier. It's the first time I go on it. It's much easier than the other shit I saw so far. I would say that the second easiest is the Martian track I took just before. The thing that makes it just a little more difficult than this one is the cave section, I find. Mostly because you're basically in darkness and it changes the way you sort of see the track. So I also just noticed something else. If you let go of the throttle and hit just the jump, you actually go up a lot. So right now I finished 4th. Did I finish 4th? Really? Hey, that gave me money. So this is a way to get money in the game. Holy shit. There. All right, here we go, people. Here we go. Does he make it over? Does he make it over? Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! And I could have hit the jump button right after to stop myself from hitting the ground, kind of like this. Holy shit! Word of advice may not have anything to do with removing that ravine. You know what you should do? Change the default to quick race to make sure your player picks that other track with the water that I thought was way cooler and way easier to fly around on than this one just because of that ravine. Or if you still want people to do tournament first, then remove that ravine. And I think there's one in the second track too that's just as dirty. I call it dirty because you just got into the game, you're getting used to a very difficult control scheme, and then the track goes, haha, that's not cool, dude. That's not cool. And aside from that, though, I mean, man, the body model is my scale. I don't know if people will find that he's too small, because I'm only 5'7", and I'm only 130 pounds. I'm not a big guy, and this feels like it's my size with a sort of puffy suit on it. That's, wow, that's incredible. And he doesn't have a head, which is done properly. That prevents you clipping through your own head. So if I look down, it really, like, literally feels like those are my shoulders. That's really, really well done. There's a lot of things that are really well done. And one thing I can say, for once, I'm trying a game. I've done a few purchases in the past of games that are like, well, our game is made for VR. And you try the game and you're like, Now that you wrote that when you wanted to sell your game, because this game you didn't think 2 seconds about VR is what you did. And I find that unfortunate when I buy a game like that and I'm like, oh cool, made for VR, and then it's just, no, it's half-hearted. It's very bad. This game here does not suffer from that. It says it's been adapted for VR, that it's a labor of love for VR, and frankly, it shows. And I like the way you think, Mr. Developer. The way you thought of this skimmer, and the balls it takes to go put a game that's this fucking hard to control on the market, yet realize that, you know, if I get my consumer base to realize that it's a cool fucking control model anyways, then maybe they'll like it. And look, you're getting positive ratings on something that I personally think would have been crazy to release, because I would have said, like, a lot of gamers are going to be like, Alt F4. But really, whoa, like, I love the way you think. I love the way these controls feel, the way the shit moves. But that's it. Like I said, there's only a few little kicks in the balls in the first few things you're bound to visit that should not be there, in my opinion, in order to, at least, I wouldn't want to see this game dumbed down and made super easy, but ease the learning curve a little bit. Holy shit! How to avoid the... So I think the red lights mean that place is fucking dangerous. What? Did I just see this? My recommendation to you retarded people who leave negative reviews on Steam based on motion sickness that has nothing to do with a technical issue in the game itself is, first, stop leaving retarded negative reviews, and second, do more VR until you get used enough to the simple experiences, the seated stuff, the stuff where you don't move a lot, where if you do move, you move extremely slowly or you use teleportation. Get used to that first. Do a lot of hours. I mean a lot of hours of that. Then ease into the first-person view experiences, where you'll start getting that heavier motion. And from the first-person view experiences, you can carry on to simulators that give incredibly wild experiences like this, or something where you're flying a jet fighter. Now, I'm sort of setting aside car simulations. A car is a very familiar thing to most of us. We've all been in a car, so we know how the motion feels, and most of us can handle it, even as passengers, even when we're not in control of the device. It's very different with aircraft and spacecraft and such. But with a car, I would say it's actually another one of these excellent entry-level VR experiences. If you are a VR noob, take a headset, load up a driving simulation. It's even better when you have a steering wheel, and give that a shot. You will feel great. You will have much less motion sickness. But what I want to do right now is just reiterate. If you're a VR noob, you're not a retard. If you're a VR noob leaving negative reviews on Steam based on motion sickness that has nothing to do with a specific technical issue in the game, fuck you, you are retarded. Now, would I recommend this game to just about anyone? Well, I can't really go and do that. First off, there is a pretty big limit with VR and the motion. If you are a VR beginner, if you're a VR noob, be careful when you buy this game. It is intense motion, there's a lot of yaw, and there's a lot of intense movement. So this may not be for the VR newcomer. Also, controls-wise, this almost asks you to have a little bit of flight simulator experience. If it sounds weird, it's kind of like the only way I can really explain it. It's that kind of fiddly control that you need to fuck with and fuck with and fuck with, and eventually you get really good at it. And even though you're really good at it, you can get even better at it because it has so much nuance. I know that someone who like plays hack and slash games all the time would fucking hate a game like this because they would find the controls so difficult to get used to that they probably wouldn't give themselves enough time to take a liking into it. Whereas if you're someone who used to flight simulations, then you're used to difficult controls and you can actually accept a very steep difficulty curve with something that will give you an experience that's this cool. So you have two factors in hand here: the motion, which is, you know, this isn't for everyone, and the controls, which also are not for everyone. So this is really not for everyone. Like I said, so you got to be used to high motion VR experiences. I'll give you a pretty good reference. If you can play first person view games without experiencing motion sickness, I'm talking like Ark Survival Evolved, I'm talking Albino Lullaby, I'm talking Solus Project, all the first-person view games that are played with the mouse and keyboard. If you can play those, then you can play Vector 36 probably no problem. There might be a little bit of a motion curve for you, but you will get used to it. I'm not worried for you. However, for VR newcomers who aren't used to, like, if you're an airplane pilot, you'll probably deal with it fine even though you're a VR newcomer. You'll be fine with it because airplane pilots are subject to all sorts of things that would make a normal person really, really motion sick, whereas they're just like, yeah, no problem. I'm gonna eat a sandwich now. So if you're that kind of person, yeah, no problem. You can even as a beginner. I know I have a friend at work with a DK1. On his first time, he finished Half-Life 2. He just finished the whole game in one shot. I was unable to do that. 4 hours and a half, one sitting, DK1, very new at VR, and he finished Half-Life 2. So those people will be able to do it right off the bat without a problem, whereas those people who are going to feel sick after 5 seconds, do a lot of first-person view experiences in VR before you jump into something like this if you are not certain to be able to endure the motion. I wouldn't want to make you buy something that's going to actually piss you off or make you rage quit in your first few minutes, but at the same time, I think this game does deserve the attention. I think it is well done for what it wants to deliver, and thus, if it looks like it's for you, if you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I don't think I'll get motion sick for 1, and for 2, this looks so cool. Yes, that's probably for you. Just seeing that is probably for you. If you're seeing this and you're like, that looks cool, but it looks hard to control, I'm not sure you should buy it right away. Or if you buy it, be very, very kind towards it at the beginning so that you don't rage quit. And also, if you're looking at this and you're getting dizzy, don't buy the game. I'm serious, don't buy the game. There's no point. If you're getting dizzy from the video, the VR is going to devastate you completely. I mean, there's nothing you'll be able to do about that. So, thanks for watching this Vector 36 First Impressions, folks. I shall see you next time on Stereo 3D Production.